Hi, folks. You're with Tacitus Today, your pushback channel. And thank you for joining us, radio, audio, no pictures, live stream. In this essay, I'd like to talk about how mass migration of brown and black people from third world countries has simultaneously, all at the same time, reached record highs, so huge numbers all across the Western world at the same time. Now, there's obviously nothing organic and natural about this at all. And Western governments are all controlled by the globalists, of course, busily and almost desperately, I would argue, trying to find ways of ginning up and pushing up, pumping up the numbers of brown and black peasants coming to the West. Now, in Australia's case, there's not so many black people. It's more people from the Indian subcontinent, Bangladesh, Pakistan, India, China. China's got a very large youth unemployment problem at the moment. They moved the farm kids, the rural peasant farm kids from the farms into the city in mass numbers, almost at the point of a gun, the way they were doing it. And this is when China was ramping up its manufacturing sector, or when all Western firms were moving their manufacturing to China, and what was a very cozy intergovernment globalist arrangement there. And now that's gone off the boil, and so there's a lot of these peasant kids, former farm kids, and now they got nowhere to go. The manufacturing sector can't absorb them anymore, and it's going back to the farms is unattractive for many of them, or some of them will. So there's this fast floating pool now of nothing to do Chinese kids or younger people, and they think, well, screw it, I'll go to the West. So a lot of them are coming in now through the southern border into the United States, and tens of millions of them are desperate to get out. Now in India, you've got something like in the Indian subcontinent, you've got over a billion with a B, over a billion brown peasants that want to get the fuck out of the Indian subcontinent, and they all want to go to the West. That's their dream. And so now that's more people than there is in the entire Western, white diaspora as it is. So Western people being a minority, very much minority in every Western country, if that were to happen. And you get the impression it's what the globalists do want to have happen, especially when you look at how much deception and lying and trickery and treachery they use to make it happen. I mean, if it's such a good thing, then just tell us why and how it's such a good thing. Don't rely on so many lies and tricks and underhanded fucking bullshit schemes. Anyway, let's just have a look at this. Why and how is it that all at the same time, the Western Europe, Britain, Australia, Canada, the United States, New Zealand, the whole Western, particularly the Anglo sphere, is suddenly all at the same time having record numbers of black and brown third world illiterate peasants arriving. I mean, why is that? Now, clearly it's organised. Centrally planned, centrally organised, centrally facilitated. Billions upon billions of dollars, tens of billions of dollars are being handed over to NGOs and all sorts of unscrupulous, shadowy peripheral players to facilitate this mass movement of people. Into Australia, there's in the last 12 months, there's something like 500,000. Australia's only got a population of, I think it's just going to be 27 million pretty soon, 26, 27 million. And over 500,000 people arrived in 12 months. Pretty much all of them brown and black. I mean, you're kidding me, right? The people don't want it. Nobody wants it. No one's asked for it. No one's voted for it. And yet it's being forced on us without our consent. And, well, they're doing everything they can to try and conceal it through various means. For example, instead of saying that people are migrants, they'll say, well, they're students. They've only come to learn and get an education. Hey, what's wrong with that? There's no. What are you saying? Brown people aren't allowed education? Is that what you're saying? You fucking Nazi! So they're doing everything they can to conceal it. The reality is these people are coming in to do 6-week bullshit courses on dishwashing or floor sweeping or painting nails, in a beautician's salon. Or this is the sort of education that the vast majority of them are doing. They're not coming as serious students. And the ones that come as students to university, they're only coming on the basis that if they get a Western degree and they've been in the country for 3 years and they've done some sort of work, that will automatically give them some sort of long-term permanent residency, which then in turn gives them the right to bring out their second and third cousins and all that sort of thing. And when you look at the total numbers of immigrants that come into Australia and the varying flavours and forms and backdoor, treacherous schemes that the government allows them to scam, labour hire fronts and all this sort of bullshit. If you look at the close to half of the people that arrive are really family reunion or chain migration. This is where they bring out mail order brides and pre-arranged marriages from childhood, and particularly in places like India and so on in the Middle East, they do that. And so and the Indians in particular are absolutely fanatical about maintaining genetic purity and cultural and spiritual sort of continuity and purity. So they've got no intention of integrating other than whatever they need to do to take money from the white people. So you've got this vast amount of out of the 500,000, you've got half of them are just family reunion, and where there is no requirement that they meet a threshold of can they speak English or do they have any job skills or any, so that they don't have to meet such a high, not that the threshold's high, by the way, it isn't, but they don't have to meet any of that. So you can get these people coming in who are a total and absolute 100% liability. Also, this idea they have of offloading embarrassing relatives to the West, so they can say that well, that's my brother or that's my sister or that's my cousin, when it isn't. And that they'll just find a member of the family that's maybe got severe medical requirements or maybe they're they've got they're criminals or they've got mental health problems. And they'll say, well, okay, get rid of Ching Chong Chang and say that he's your brother and you can get him out there. And they've got no problem in those corrupt countries of manufacturing passports that say this or that or anything else. So that they come out and they're nothing more than a burden. So you get half of a family reunion. The others, many of the others are using scam residency gaining schemes. Again, doing a 6-week course in dishwashing and saying then that they've got a diploma and then applying for residency and then bribing, fuck knows how many officials all over the place to do that. So you actually get a very small number of people out of the 500,000 that actually are any net benefit to Australia. And then you could apply this to the West generally. So a generous number is 5%. And this is something that the government, the Australian government would privately concede, but they'll be very quiet. They don't want to publicise it. 5% are actually a benefit to the, they can speak competent, say senior high school level English or high school level English, and they've got or better, and they've got skills, qualifications, job experience, verifiable and so on that they have, and they can plug straight into the employment scene and all this sort of stuff. And so 5% is the generous number. So out of 500,000, 25,000 at best are good, but in reality, it's closer to 3%. So really, out of 500,000 people, about 15,000 are a net benefit. Over a 12-month period, 15,000 are a net benefit to the economy, as in they're immediately employable, immediately needed. Their skills are actually needed. It's all very well to say, well, look, we need an electrician out of some one-horse town in the middle of nowhere. That's a skill shortage. No, it's not a fucking skill shortage. That town cannot support an electrician. They just can't. There just isn't enough business there. So the electrician has to come from the nearest large town. And they'll only come once a week, but they look at that, no skills. It's not no skills. No fully qualified electrician wants to live in a one-horse town and survive on one customer a week. They just can't do it. So they look at it in a very strange way, and a lot of the numbers they come up with for skill shortages are artificially contrived and very politically contrived as well. So anyway, all across the Western world, you've got these record numbers. Now, why is that? Why now? Why now is it simultaneously record numbers? You get the impression that they think that the globalists think they may temporarily lose control of the situation, and they won't have they're losing the ability to pump masses of third world, illiterate peasants into the West, which is clearly their intention. I mean, there's no disputing at all that that's their intention. And they'll use any illegitimate means and any form of trickery and treachery to get it done. But if for example the European parliamentary elections coming up, let's suppose the globalist people lose their majority, and it's a possibility they might, then there'd be one imagines quite a curtailing of mass migration, and there'd be many standards that we put in place. I don't think anyone's against migration of skilled applicants. I don't think anyone's against. I can't think of anyone that would oppose that. But whenever any political party or politician mentions mass migration should be changed to skilled migration, then they get accused of being fascist, Nazi, if not Hitler personally, for goodness sake, just for saying skilled migration. So the reality is, though, that in the case of Australia, as just one example, if skilled migration if standards of skilled migration were upheld, then and other standards along with it, such as health, then the mass migration would fall to, again, 15 to 20,000 a year, 25,000. Let's be super generous and say 30,000. But that's what it would go to. So the reality is that it would drastically and dramatically change the entire architecture of and underwriting principles of mass migration. But at the moment, they're pumping as many illiterate peasants into the system as they can. Now, these people are unneeded. They're not needed for the economy. There are no jobs for them. There's nothing for them to do. They're either going to go on unemployment benefit, or the government will just have to expand the public service and create unneeded jobs, or lean on big companies to create all these unneeded jobs, which they are currently doing, by the way. So hey, your quota this month is to employ 5,000 Indians. For what? Hey, we don't give a fuck. Just invent some jobs, and we'll just give you a few cozy, non-competitive government contracts, to cover the cost of it. So the taxpayer's paying one way or another, and we're getting a much less efficient economy. Much more cronyism and all sorts of things. But I think my take on it is that they reckon that the globalists think they may temporarily lose control, or they're going to have reduced levels of control in some places. For example, if Donald Trump wins the US presidential election, or if they, he'll win it hands down. It's can they stop him, really, by whatever nefarious means is more to the point. And remember, rigging elections and all that sort of stuff, they're more than happy to do it in pursuit of these pure and honest globalist objectives. So I think my take is they reckon they're going to lose control or have reduced control, so they're getting in while the going's good and pumping it up to the max while they think they have the window to do so. But tell me what you think in the comments below. You've been a Tacitus today, your Pushback channel, and thank you for listening.